It's been nearly 20 years since the release of the original Luigi's Mansion, and it's hard to believe that we haven't gotten a new sequel for consoles since then. With Luigi's Mansion 3 as one of the most anticipated games of the Halloween season, many people have begun to wonder what the story of Luigi's Mansion is. And that's where I come in. I'm your host 24Kevin, here for 24Kevintendo, and this is the story you might not know about Luigi's Mansion. As is true for Topian tradition, we start every story with the manual. One day, Luigi received an unexpected message. "You've won a huge mansion!" Naturally, he got very excited and called his brother, Mario. "Mario? It's me, Luigi. I won myself a big mansion. Meet me there and we'll celebrate. What do you say?" Bad voice impersonations aside, Luigi tried to follow the map to the new mansion, but the night was dark, and he became hopelessly lost in an eerie forest along the way. Finally, he came upon a gloomy mansion on the edge of the woods. According to the map, this mansion seemed to be the one Luigi was looking for. As soon as Luigi set foot in the mansion, he started to feel nervous. Mario, who should have arrived first, was nowhere to be seen. Not only that, but there were ghosts in the mansion. Suddenly, a ghost lunged at Luigi. "Mario, help me!" That's when a strange old man with a vacuum cleaner on his back appeared out of nowhere. This strange fellow managed to rescue Luigi from the ghosts, and then the two of them escaped. This man is revealed to be Professor Egad, and after retreating to his lab, Professor Egad regales Luigi with the story how the mansion appeared just a few days ago, and how the spirits must be fooling him and actually captured Mario, who arrived earlier. Egad teaches Luigi how to use the poltergust and sets out to capture the ghosts. After some harrowing battles, Luigi returns the ghosts to Egad to be processed and transformed into paintings in order to become visible, and capture their essence. Luigi then stumbles upon a treasure trove of boos and sets them free in the mansion, along with King Boo, which are revealed to have been hiding in the mansion all along. In a serendipitous moment, it turns out that Mario has been captured in a painting as well. With the stakes at an all-time high, Luigi ghostbusts his way through the mansion, eventually coming to the final room with King Boo. King Boo reveals that he captured Mario for all the trouble he's caused him in the past, and that he can't believe the Mario Bros would be gullible enough to believe that they won a mansion in a contest that they didn't even enter. In one final battle, the King among Boos drags Luigi into a painting and takes over a fake Bowser's body. With the help of the Poltergust 3000, Luigi is able to take down King Boo and fake Bowser and capture him once and for all. Luigi returns to the lab with the Mario painting in tow and puts it through the same machine that captured the ghosts in the paintings to release Mario from the painting, and letting out a hearty laugh once Mario's head gets stuck inside the picture frame. Damn, Luigi, you cold. We're then greeted with one final epilogue. So the matter of the ghost was settled. Professor Egad was so delighted to have all his paintings returned that he used the treasure Luigi had found to build a new house, with the amount of treasure that Luigi captured throughout the game determining how big his mansion will be in the endgame. Fun fact, the actual canonical house mansion that Luigi gets in the end of Luigi's Mansion is in fact the Rank D mansion. While this is where the game ends and leads into Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, the 3DS version of Luigi's Mansion actually involves time travel. In this version, Professor Egad from the future sends an experiment known as Luigi back in time to gather information and go through testing with Luigi. This actually takes place during the middle of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, as shown by the Dark Moon crystal half-formed in the background. But more on the history of Luigi and the Dark Moon next time. After bringing Luigi through the mansion, Luigi sends Luigi back to future Professor Egad to set up for Luigi's Mansion 3. Well, now that we have the story out of the way, there's not much else to go over, except for the history of some of the ghosts in the actual mansion. Of course, the main part of the game, how could we not get into the history of them? Thanks to Easter eggs hidden around the mansion and clues from the Game Boy Horror, we learn a little more about the family here, and the literal horror that happened in the game. Now there's only one ghost that has their death plainly spelled out in this game, and that's Mr. Lugs, who ate himself to death. Not the worst way to go, to be honest. Then some are seemingly implicated with Shivers and Nana dying of old age, and not completing their desired tasks, so they complete it in their afterlife. This also rings true for the Werlindas, who seemingly always wanted to compete in ballroom dancing, but missed their opportunity and continue to dance well into their afterlife. Melody, who still loves to play piano, beautifully mind you, and has a surly disposition. Next we have Sir Weston, who we only know is pissed that he's a ghost and is stuck in the ice room. Now, one thing that he did is he probably created it after he wanted to go mountaineering in his life and exploring, but was stopped due to becoming a ghost and being trapped within a mansion or a painting. Slim Bankshot, who is apparently a legendary pool player, despite never facing a living soul, probably meaning he competed in various ghost-related pool events. Do you think they call ghosts who play pool pooltergeists? Those don't come often, people. Enjoy them when they do. Honestly, if you think about it, he probably had nothing better to do in the afterlife and became an incredible pool player after dedicating his life to the craft. This could also help explain why Biff Atlas is so swole. All he does is work out. It was his passion while he was alive. Why wouldn't it be his passion in the afterlife? Now this brings us to a very interesting point with Miss Petunia, who was apparently a great beauty before coming runner-up in the Miss Ghost pageant, resulting in her gaining a lot of weight and spending her time in a bath for the most part. Two telltale signs of depression. She may have become a ghost simply because she wanted to compete in the Miss Ghost competition after winning all the living competitions on Earth, and sacrificing your life, figuratively and literally, towards something only to come in second would be enough to push anyone over the edge. Now those were just some of the supplementary ghosts, which although were pretty dark at times, has nothing on the family that actually resides in this house, or has this house based off of. We still have yet to determine that, as the Boos created this mansion as an illusion to draw Luigi in. First off, Nigel and Lydia are the parents of Chauncey, Henry, and Orville. One thing really interesting is that looking at the Game Boy Horror, we can see that Chauncey was actually born a ghost. Now to me, this could mean one of two things. One, that the baby was delivered by a stork and was a ghost the whole time, or they had the baby while they were still alive, but Chauncey died while she was giving birth. Now personally, I believe it's actually the latter because of something we read in Lydia's bio, that she collected her riches to enjoy in the afterlife. This would mean she planned to become a ghost the whole time. Now, why would anyone plan to become a ghost? What if they were so distraught with grief that they decided to do anything to save their baby, and somehow was able to save their newborn by resurrecting it as a ghost? Now I know what you're all thinking. We know that babies in the Mario universe are delivered by storks, or at least some of them are. One reason that supports babies being born by storks are none of them having belly buttons due to them not having a need for an umbilical cord because they're not in utero. You can learn more about this in my Yoshi's Island The Story You Might Not Know video, but there is one more fact that people seem to ignore, and that's that there's one main character in the Mushroom Kingdom that does indeed have a belly button. That would be Princess Peach. As we can see in Super Mario Odyssey, Princess Peach does indeed have a belly button, which supports the fact that she was not delivered by a stork in the first place, thus showing there is more than one way to have a baby in Mario lore. Yes, we could look at Wario as well. We know he has a big old belly button, but still, let's not get on topic there. Now that we're off of that little tangent, there's one other part that I believe will help support this theory. Bogmire, the only ghost that seemingly doesn't have an original physical form, was said to be built off of the fear and despair of the mansion. One could think that some of the despair could be that of the family members passing away, and the fear could also be from when they transformed the people into ghosts, not exactly knowing how to control the entity or how to communicate with it. Knowing everything they did for their family to be together, Nigel and Lydia began transforming their family and friends into ghosts so they could all be together. I believe they told the twins, who love playing hide and seek, to both hide and took them out in the most humane way possible. Sweet Pea was murdered in her sleep, and the others may have volunteered to be with their loved possessions, profession, or hobby to try and continue their passions into the afterlife. And honestly, why do most people become ghosts? Because of the fear of dying. I think that's a pretty strong fear that Bogmire could have been fueled off of. Now, there is also one more thing we see associated with Bogmire, and that is that he's found in the graveyard. Looking around, we can see that there are 7 gravestones, with one of them being larger, presumably for both parents if I had to guess. So we see the ghost dog Spooky around his doghouse, and I believe he was buried around there, so he wouldn't be one of the other graves. Since Chauncey wasn't ever really born alive, he may not have had a gravestone. So that leaves 6 stones unaccounted for. Now there are several portraits found around the mansion, and I know this mansion was crafted by Booze, but it must have had to be based off of something in order to keep the ghosts complacent there. So I have a strong feeling that this mansion's design was slightly based off the house that all this family lived in before, and would help explain the graveyard in the background, and why the butler is still looking through the halls to find his master's will. So if we're going based on the portraits that we found around the mansion, I think that we can assume the other graves in the graveyard are for Nana, Tom, Orville, Slim Bankshot, Sweet Pea, and Vincent Van Gogh. Now I know Mr. Werlindo was also shown in the portraits, but seeing as he has a wife that's not part of the family, he probably opted not to have a spot at the mansion. On another side note, I know we had Uncle Grimly and we didn't really talk about him, but it literally says he's adrift in the darkness, he tends to keep to himself, which suits the rest of the family just fine. Explains why he's not in the graveyard, he just kinda walked around and did his own thing before eventually passing away and being cursed to sort of live by his lonesome in the dark, much like he liked doing on his own anyways, so good on him. Now, on to our last guy you may have noticed we neglected to mention, Vincent Van Gogh. Vincent Van Gogh has the very special distinction of being one of the main villains of the game. Vincent actually created all of the non-Boo ghosts and non-portrait ghosts we see in the game. The first time you actually meet him, he gets quite upset about you ruining his afterlife's work, saying how he gives his creations life, which is typically a metaphor in the art world, but as we basically see right after, he means it in a very literal sense. Eventually capturing all the ghosts, Van Gogh relents and says that at least his work will live on forever, until he realizes that only one piece of artwork is left, and that is the treasure chest that he was drawing when you came into the room. Although Luigi's Mansion did have some lighter undertones and some pretty funny moments, it was truly a dark game deep down inside. Luckily, Luigi got to relax in his mansion in the end, until Egad summons him for a next mission. But that's a story for the next time. And that's all the time we got for today's episode. I am so sorry it's been so long in between these. I was working on this one and Luigi's Dark Moon forever, but that one should be out next week just in time for Luigi's Mansion 3, and there should also be a little special something once Luigi's Mansion 3 comes out, and hopefully we can have some fun with that. But thank you all for watching. For everyone here at 24KevNintendo, I'm your host 24Kevin. See you guys next time. Hope you all had a great day. Bye!